And hello, welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I am Daren, Jaime. Today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough in New York City. Coming up, we'll sit with an expert on a recent cardiovascular study discussing the critical role inflammation plays in managing cardiovascular health. And after that, we'll talk about how one international film festival has been dedicated to amplifying the stories of people of color from all across the globe. Then we'll learn how one school network has earned a prestigious national recognition and how it reflects the hard work of students, teachers, and leaders alike. And then next, we'll discuss an event that's designed to support the growth and success of small businesses. We'll give you more details a little bit later on in the show. And then finally, we'll dive deeper into how seniors can take proactive steps to maintain mobility and reduce their fall risk. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I am Daren Jaime. You are now watching Open, a live program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers to the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on M&N's channels. You can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Well, some things have been going on through the past week. We'll take you through it with some Bronx updates. And we kick off with community news. The South Bronx has been fighting a deadly opioid crisis for the last several years. And as a whole, the Bronx has the highest number of overdose deaths in all 5 boroughs. As a result, New York City and state officials announced a multi-million-dollar investment in their fight against the opioid crisis right here in our borough. Our BronxNet reporter, Brittany Schuyler, has a story.
In 2022, over 800 Bronxites died of an opioid overdose, and the borough continues to have the highest rate of drug-related deaths. Today, an allocation has been made in hopes of significantly decreasing these statistics. At New York City Health and Hospitals Lincoln, elected officials and medical professionals gathered to announce the allocation of $6 million going toward a new treatment center.
Today, we take a bold step forward in our overall goals to fight the epidemic of not only opioid abuse, overdose deaths in this borough.
While the Gotham Health Belvis Center is open in the South Bronx, the $6 million will allow Lincoln to double the size of Belvis and relocate patients to this new site. The facility will not only treat on-site ailments caused by addiction, but will also lean heavily on wraparound services like family counseling to tackle the root causes of patients' addictions.
It will be a huge benefit to our patients who deserve the best. Now they'll be able to get treatment right in their community and their hospital.
As the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene reports a 12% increase in opioid-related deaths between 2021 and 2022, with the neighborhoods with the highest usage being Mott Haven, Highbridge, Morrisania, Hunts Point, and Tremont, a local facility is needed now more than ever.
We can not only prevent people from dying, we can give them their lives back.
Construction of the new facility will begin during the second quarter of 2025. Reporting for BronxNet, Brittany Schuyler.
And thank you, Brittany. In other news, New York City Department of Transportation launched mobile speed camera enforcement in select highway zones, protecting crews as well as drivers. Now, first-time offenders will be fined $50, second offenses $75, and further violations within 18 months, it'll cost you $100 each. The initiative will target highways in all boroughs except Manhattan, with cameras already deployed on the Clearview Expressway in Queens, on the West Shore Expressway on Staten Island, Prospect Parkway in Brooklyn, and both the Bronx River Parkway and the Major Deegan in the Bronx. Work zone safety has become a growing concern, with 12 intrusions last year resulting in 6 injuries. Now, New York City's automated camera systems also monitor red lights, speed limits, and bus lanes, now expand to highway construction areas, further reinforcing safety efforts across the city. And Big Brother is watching. So that is all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We do take a quick break, but guess what? Have more open when we return. And we are back. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for women in the United States, yet only half of the women recognize it as their number 1 health threat. A newly published landmark study in the New England Journal of Medicine sheds the light on the critical role three specific health markers play in predicting cardiovascular risk in women. Joining me now, we've got the founder and medical director of Cherry Creek Heart, Dr. Payal Kohli, and we thank you so much, Dr. Kohli, for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me, and what an important topic to discuss today.
It is an important topic to discuss, and when we talk about this cardiovascular risk to women, as we say, it's prevalent, but then yet and still so many are not aware. Is there any particular reason that we're seeing for a lack of awareness on the part of women?
You know, it's interesting. We've always thought about heart disease as an old man's disease, and what we really don't appreciate is that it's everybody's disease. In fact, statistically, it's the most likely thing to get any of us. And heart disease actually starts to happen in your 20s and 30s, but it's not really until your 60s and 70s that it manifests or declares itself. And I think that's one of the big reasons for this lack of awareness, because people don't understand that heart disease is happening as we age, and it's common, and it's something we need to address. And the other piece of this, I would say, is that cholesterol, which is the biggest driver of heart disease, and inflammation as well, aren't symptomatic always. So we don't always have symptoms from heart disease until obviously it declares itself or manifests itself. So it really behooves us to get ahead of the disease, to look, to check, to make sure we're getting our blood tests so that we're knowing what the disease is doing before it actually acts up.
Well, Dr. Kohli, I know that there are some recent discoveries that have been made in this particular area. So let's walk through a little bit about what are some of the recent discoveries that you've made.
You know, I've been really excited as a female cardiologist to see that now we're getting better at predicting heart disease. We're getting better at looking into the future and knowing who's going to go on to have a heart attack or a stroke. Because in the past, like I said, we always waited for the event and then we did something. And we used to only just check your cholesterol. But this new study that just got published in the New England Journal of Medicine said it shouldn't just be the cholesterol, but we should check these 3 markers. And this is blood tests that are already available. So talk to your doctor about ordering them. One is the cholesterol, because cholesterol is the big driver of heart disease. Second, however, is inflammation, which we're now appreciating is a big driver of heart disease. And that's a test called CRP. It's a blood test. And then the third is a fat particle in your blood called lipoprotein A. Now, 20% of us are walking around with this number elevated, and it's mostly genetics, about 90% genetically determined. But what these markers do is they put target signs on you, I like to call them. These are big target signs. So if your markers are elevated even early in your life, and that's what the study showed, and women in their 40s and 50s who are healthy had elevated markers, 30 years later, they went on to have that heart attack or stroke. So those are the people that we would then treat more aggressively.
Reducing inflammation, very critical. So I think as you talk about inflammation, not something that maybe many people are going to think about, that inflammation really can be very critical to heart disease.
It can be, and we've just learned this ourselves as cardiologists, but inflammation evolved to protect us, right? We get a cut, we get inflammation, it heals the cut. But when inflammation turns on when it's not supposed to, or when it stays on, which is what happens in patients that have inflammation-driven heart disease, that's when it can be problematic. So we really need to start thinking about checking inflammation along with cholesterol and checking this other marker called lipoprotein A in almost everyone as a way to sort of get ahead of it and know when inflammation is misbehaving and becoming chronic and causing heart disease.
You know, in the beginning, I said at the top of the lead, I said that it is one of the leading causes of death for women. An astounding number of people are dying from heart disease, lack of awareness. Let's make the correlation here. Why are we seeing so many women suffer at the hands of heart disease? And how do you feel about the awareness game? Is it improving?
You know, I call it the gender gap. And unfortunately, this exists not just in how much women get paid or how many promotions they get, but even in their medical care. So women don't know that they have heart disease. Doctors don't diagnose heart disease aggressively enough in women. And then even after we diagnose it, women get undertreated. So it's a chronic problem. And the sad thing is women don't just have the traditional risk factors, the hypertension, the diabetes, you know, the obesity, the high cholesterol, but they also have risk factors related to their pregnancy, related to when they went into menopause. These can all contribute to cardiovascular risk in women. So I think we have to do better as a system, but part of that is us as women who are used to being in charge and used to being in control, saying, I need to know my numbers so I can know my risk. So this is why I want every woman to feel empowered with this type of data, to get those numbers checked, to get ahead of heart disease, to be smarter than the disease by checking things that aren't declaring themselves yet so that they can start to modify their risk, talk to their doctors, not just about lifestyle changes, which can reduce your risk with inflammation and with cholesterol, but even medications that could help to do so.
Are there anything that you can tell us with regards to blood tests? Because I know that that's the key to detection in a lot of ways. But the regularity, if you will, how many times a person should be tested? Is there a particular number that you're looking for annually?
Yep. So the cholesterol panel should be annual. That's your lipid panel. You usually get that with your annual physical. You should get a hemoglobin A1C, which is a blood test that tells you about your blood sugar. You should talk to your doctor about a urine test called microalbumin. This is the test that starts to tell you your kidneys are misbehaving before you actually see the blood test, the kidney test in the blood get worse. So it's actually a smarter test than just looking at the blood test. So those are the three tests probably at least once a year. That lipoprotein A, which I talked about being a genetic marker, once in your lifetime. You don't need to keep checking it over and over again. But guess what? If you're that 20% that's elevated, I'm going to check your kids. I'm going to check your siblings. So it triggers what we call cascade family screening. So it's not just about your risk, it's about the risk of your loved ones if you get that check. But that's only a once in a lifetime test. And then the CRP, which is that inflammation marker, that can go up and down. So that we check at least twice to make sure that it's persistently elevated, because if I have allergies or I have a cold, it's going to go up. But you want to make sure that you're assessing inflammation that's chronic, that's kind of gone up and staying up. And so that test would need to be repeated. And then over time, as you introduce lifestyle measures to reduce that, you could check it again to see if it's come down. I would also encourage everyone over the age of 40 to get an X-ray of the heart called a calcium score. This is a 5-minute test, and it tells me if you already have calcium, which sticks to cholesterol in the blood vessels around your heart. And guess what? That's that target sign, and that's a big target sign if you already have plaque in your 40s.
Yeah. Dr. Kohli, as a female cardiologist, talk to me about, having this opportunity to really deal with women who are dealing with this number in an unfair advantage, if you will. We know that when it comes to heart health, women are really dealing with heart disease at an astronomical rate. But then to have female cardiologists, women cardiologists in the room discussing the research, talk to me about the effect of that and how that's actually, a positive thing in the world of the medical world, I should say.
Well, with all the advances that we've had, especially in women, I feel like we have learned so much. So I feel very positive as a female cardiologist that, yes, women have more inflammation, so their markers are more likely to be up. Women have more side effects to statin medications, so it's less likely that they're going to get treated. But even despite all that, we're understanding so much more about pregnancy, about in vitro fertilization, about menopause, about all the things that happen to women and how we can use those things to assess their risk. In fact, if you get a mammogram in your 40s and you have tiny little what's called breast arterial calcifications, meaning little calcium deposits in the small arteries of the breast, that predicts your risk of having bigger arteries like your heart arteries or your brain ones have problems 10 or 20 years later. So I think we've gotten smarter about how to think about risk in women, and I'm really positive about that. I also think all the medicines that we have coming, a lot of them now are actually being studied more in women. So one of the problems had been that in clinical trials, you only have 1 out of 4 women, or maybe 1 out of 3 women. But now we've had clinical trials come out that have half women. And since half of the world's population is women, we really ought to be doing science and research that represents the world's population. And I would go on to add that that's true even when it comes to, underrepresented minority groups. There's so little that we know. Most of the studies that we have are in Caucasian populations, but it's really very important for us to think about your ethnicity when we think about your risk, because like I'm South Asian, my risk is higher because of being South Asian with respect to certain factors. So now we have risk calculators that include race as part of your risk calculation. They include your zip code. So it tells you where you're living and how much access you have to care, because we know that those types of social determinants of health are also really important when it comes to predicting risk. So I feel really optimistic about where we are in terms of how we can help our women and our underrepresented minorities and help to really bridge that gap.
Yeah, Dr. Payal Kohli, we got to leave it there, but great information, and certainly an awareness is out that an awareness for people on the risk of cardiovascular health in the lives of women. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Payal Kohli. She's the founder and medical director of Cherry Creek Heart, and she's been with us. Now, if you want more information, visit the website, cvdinflammation.com. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We are coming back more open when we return right after this.
Hey, creative family, my name is Timothy Coleman, and I'm the Director of Education here at BronxNet. And I'm standing in BronxNet's Media and Technology Studios in the South Bronx, because I want to let you know about an amazing program that we're bringing back that highlights the creativity of community members just like you. Emerging Media Makers is a show that introduces you to BronxNet's certified producers. They've taken a step in their creative journey by enrolling in BronxNet's media training classes. On this show, you'll get to see the many ways that our certified producers have created a space that's all their own. Emerging Media Makers, your passion lives here.
And welcome back. For decades, film has been a powerful tool for challenging stereotypes and reshaping the way we understand the world. The African Diaspora International Film Festival has dedicated itself to presenting stories searching the human experience of people of color, inviting audiences from diverse backgrounds to engage with critical narratives of identity, equality, and justice. And joining me now is the festival coordinator and co-curator of the 2024 African Diaspora International Film Festival, Lerato Bokako, and then co-director of Locked Out Film, Luchina Fischer. And thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thank you. And I'll start with Lerato first of all, an opportunity to really showcase talent, but at the same time, not just showcase talent, but also to be able to create, some awareness.
Absolutely, yeah. We're really excited to be premiering 62 films this year from 32 countries. This year is our 32nd year running, which is no small feat. And we have 31 premieres this year, which is a really big number. And we also will be inviting some filmmakers, both locally and internationally. That should be lots of fun.
And really, you're using the film festival for a couple of things. You're showcasing up-and-coming talent, but then you're also looking at some issues, social justice in particular. Talk to us about the correlation of the film festival and the social justice narrative that you're merging together.
Yes. So as you said before, we work to tell or showcase humanizing stories of people of color from around the world. So we show stories and experiences from people from Africa and the diaspora. And we like to really showcase films that deal with things like discrimination and overcoming that, and things like resilience. And this year we have like Luchina's film, who will speak shortly. She has her film Locked Out, and I'm sure she'll speak more about it. I won't steal her thunder. But we also have a film like Power Alley from Brazil, about which is a coming of age film about a young athlete who finds out that she has an unwanted pregnancy, and as she navigates, what her next steps will be, she's targeted by a fundamentalist group who will stop her at any length. And the film is really about resilience and the importance of autonomy, as well as it being a coming of age film about a young woman of color living in Brazil. And that's called Power Alley. And that's just one of the two films we'll be playing this year.
Yeah. Let me bring Luchina in and talk a little bit about her film as we talk about Detroit. Home ownership. We know that Detroit was a place that was once a booming city. It now has been relegated to a lot of renting. But you take a look at home ownership from a women's perspective, and you go pretty in depth.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me and for having our film at the festival. So Locked Out is about the barriers to Black home ownership and the brave Black women of Detroit who are fighting back against modern day redlining, as well as predatory lenders. And they really are trying to make the American dream a reality for all. The film, as you said, takes place in Detroit, but these issues we know are happening across the United States. We live in a time where it's actually the gap between white home ownership and Black home ownership is higher now today than it was during the time of legal discrimination. So I think it's really important to bring to light the issue of home ownership. I think we talk a lot about criminal justice in our country, and especially when it comes to Black folks and the African diaspora. However, I think home ownership is one of those hidden places where discrimination happens. And as one of the people in the film says, Black men may be locked up in prison, but Black women are locked out. And they are locked out of home ownership. They are the group that is most likely to be evicted in our country. And I think it's just really important that these issues be brought to light in this emotional, character-driven story of these amazing women who are bringing to light their experience and illuminating for all this disparity in home ownership.
Luchina, give me a little bit about you for a moment, because you've been able to bring it home in several different ways. Your, Dream Team, you won the Audience Choice Award for Best Short Film at the Chicago International Film Festival and Best Documentary at the Pan-African and Tide Film Festival. You also been aired on BET. And so you're no novice at this. And at the same time, you've also been able to garner local, national, and international attention. What do you feel is that secret sauce, if you will, to having your documentary be able to resonate across so many hearts and minds and say, listen, we really need to pay attention to this?
Well, thank you for that. I think what Lerato said, resilience, right? I would add that I won my first Emmy Award this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. The Daytime Emmy for The Dads, which is a short documentary on Netflix about fathers of transgender kids. And actually, the ADF Film Festival, the African Diaspora Film Festival, first played my debut feature, which was Mama Gloria, about a Black trans elder activist named Gloria Allen, who has since passed away. But yes, I love that. That was my first feature as a full-time filmmaker. I started late in the game, but I came out of journalism and I was doing film on the side. And I would say to all those folks, who are holding on to their dreams, and that is what Teen Dream is about, these incredible Black women who became athletes in retirement. Don't give up on your dream, persist. And honestly, the only person really holding you back is yourself. And there are so many important stories to be told. And if you believe in your story, you believe in your voice, nothing is going to stop you. And that's me.
Yeah. Lerato, let me get you in and tell people how can they be a part of this film festival to see the work of Luchina and so many other people?
So they can visit our website, nyadiff.org. We have tickets on sale already. Luchina's film is on sale, so you can secure your spot today. We also will be screening around New York, so at Teachers College, Columbia University, at Thalia, at Cinema Village in the East Village. So you can also buy your tickets at the door, and tickets are $13.
Well, I want to tell our viewers definitely you could see that and a whole lot more Sunday, December the 1st, 2 o'clock at Cinema Village. And then also Thursday, December 5th, 5:10 p.m. at Cinema Village. And Luchina, Lerato, thank you so much for being with us. Great having you, and congratulations on the great work that you're continuing to do.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Well, listen, if you want more information, go ahead and visit the website at nyadiff, that's ADIFF.org. Also, the film, lockedoutfilm.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back more open right after this.
19.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
And we are back. United Charter High Schools has been ranked among the best in the state, reflecting a commitment to academic excellence, extracurricular opportunities, as well as student development. Now, serving nearly 3,000 students across the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queens, this network has been dedicated to nurturing future leaders through a supportive, diverse environment. And here now to share with more, we've got the Chief Executive Officer of United Charter High Schools, Dr. Curtis Palmore, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. It's
and
good to be here.
As I said before we got on, it's a shame that you come on and look better than the host, but you're looking very dapper today, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It's really good to be here.
It's got to be a great time for you also, because when you look at the work of these high schools that are really being celebrated, it's no small feat. It's something huge.
It's big, yeah. For me, this is like a full circle for me, because about 35 years ago, my parents here in the Bronx, they were looking for a great school for me.
Right.
And they struggled with like the local high school in the Bronx that unfortunately was not providing a high quality service for our children. So for me to have the opportunity to work with 7 great high schools that are providing a high quality education, that are getting kids into great colleges, that are putting them on a pathway to the great careers is just fulfilling to me. So it's really great to be a part of this work.
So you have charter schools now that are nationally recognized.
We do. Yes, we do.
And we've got 9 of them, right?
We have
5, right?
So we have 7 high schools within our network.
Okay.
2 of our schools are ranked in the top 10 in the niche rating for 2025. And then 5 of our schools are ranked in the top 25th in the niche rating for 2025.
And to get this rating, obviously, it's no easy feat, right?
That's correct.
And so, as I use the word secret sauce, right? Talk to us about what is it that is making the difference in the lives of young people, staff, students, to really come across this and be garnered with this honor.
Yeah, you know, there is no secret sauce, but there are several what we call key design elements that are part of our schools. And I'll highlight 3 that I think really drive home the work that we do. Okay. So the first is that, you know, regardless of a child's academic background, regardless of their zip code, regardless of maybe family hurdles that they may be going through, we believe and we know that we can prepare students to be on a pathway to the career or the college of their choice. And we do that by providing a really inclusive curriculum that supports and focuses on all types of learners. We do that by providing supports for what we call diverse learners. So students that may not speak the English language originally, students that come from maybe diverse families, students that may have an IEP or be part of a special education program. We make sure that we have the right supports for all those students. And then the other piece that I think is really important is that we make sure that we have a plan for every single child so that they have a post-secondary experience. Hopefully it's college, and if not, it's their career of their choice. And we track that, we monitor that, starting from day one when they join our schools.
How much does extracurricular activities play a role in the fact of student development and really keeping them locked in?
So, you know, I'm really fortunate. We have amazing teachers and leaders that make sure that our after-school programming and our before-school programming, sometimes throughout the day, experiences are rich for our students. So we have clubs, we have sports programs, we have volunteer experiences. One of our schools actually does an entire give back day. It's a school in Queens, but I know this is connected for the Bronx, but the entire Give Back Day, AMS4, where the entire school does some type of volunteer experience. I believe that all those experiences richen the academic experience that our students have. It helps our students to have, what I call planting seeds for their future, planting seeds for the future leaders, planting seeds for the compassion that we want our students to have.
And when you talk about what you want your students to have, you do want them to have life after this in terms of college, career. How are we going about, bridging that gap? Because we know that gap is huge, right? To get from high school into college and then from college to, to career. But to set someone up early is really critical.
It is. There's a couple of ways that we're looking at it. So first of all, a good amount of our schools, especially our schools in the Bronx, have what we call advanced placement courses, where our students are in one of our schools for advanced math and science. One of our schools, our students are actually leaving with 30 college credits by the time they graduate from that school. And we're seeking to expand that across all of our schools so that they have those types of offerings in the school. Second is that we have exposure. So we make sure that our students know about FAFSA. We make sure that our students know about the great colleges and universities locally and throughout the country, through tours, through visits, through connections where schools are coming into our schools, colleges are coming into our schools. And then there's a small amount of students where college may not be the right next step for you. But we're not going to decide that. We're going to ask the students to make those determinations because we want college to be first, and then we also want to make sure that they may have a place of employment that they can seek. So several of our schools, kids are learning career-based skills now that's going to help them to get a job when they leave us.
Yeah. Innovation is huge, right?
Huge.
And we know the technology and as I look around, I'm thinking like we were once talking about email and internet.
Yeah.
Now we're in AI and really keeping kids, socially relevant. The growth, the expansion, being able to keep up with that. How much have you been able to say, hey, you know what? we're keeping up with the curve, we're keeping up with the trend, we're getting our students, locked in,
Yes.
so that way they're ready for this future, not just in STEM, but just in life.
So there's 3 things that we're doing. So first off is that we as a network believe that there's always room for growth. There's always something that we could be doing better. So we've established these working groups where essentially groups of teachers and leaders and folks within our union are coming together to say, you know what, we haven't figured it all out. So we have an AI working group. We have a forward-thinking working group where we're thinking and meeting throughout the course of the year to say, hey, let's think about 3 to 4 different ways that we can be more innovative. Let's think about ways that, may not have existed like AI in the past, but how can we incorporate these types of things into our curriculum? So that's the first thing. This year, we also are starting a student advisory council, with 2 students from every single school are working with me, our chief academic officer, our chief financial officer, to have basically innovation across our schools, where we're talking with our students around things that are important to them and figuring out ways that we can do our work even better.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to these schools here, and you tell me if I got it right now. They're let's see here, 3,000 schools, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens.
That's correct.
7 schools in the network. 5 right here in the borough of the Bronx. Now, I need you to know we do the Bronx as well as Manhattan, so Manhattan gets love here. But today we're talking about the Bronx. United Charter High School for Advanced Math and Science, MS2, number 3 in the Bronx. United Charter High School for Advanced Math and Science, number 9 in the Bronx. United Charter High School for the Humanities, number 11 in the Bronx. United Charter High School for the Humanities, number 17 in the Bronx. And then the United Charter High School for Advanced Math and Science, number 25, also in Brooklyn.
That's correct.
And so, you got a lot to be proud of here.
We do, and that first school that you mentioned, Advanced Math and Science 2, is actually a federally acknowledged blue ribbon school.
Wow.
So it was the only school in 2022 that received that award as well. That's just a great sign of the academic excellence that we're promoting within our organization.
Well, Dr. Palmore, before we go any further, let me ask the question, what's next? I mean, you got all this great success. What happens next?
What's next is that we want to find more families that could be a part of this work, more students that could be a part of this work. We encourage all families to go to unitedcharter.org, click on the enroll button. That will take you to a pathway to ultimately sign up to either be a part of our enrollment process or find out more about our schools.
We hear a lot about parent involvement and how critical that is for a student to be able to have that success that they actually need. Given the fact that you've got success here, can you give us a little insight as to what kind of level of parental involvement are you seeing in the lives of your students?
So, our parents and our students are the best part of our work. Our parents, have sought out to find out who we are. We're not the automatic option because we're not the traditional public school. We are a charter school, so they have to enroll in us. That brings a level of excitement and energy that I've seen thus far that continues throughout the course of their work while their children are in our school. I feel very fortunate to serve so many families that are part of our work.
Dr. Curtis Palmore, Chief Executive Officer of the United Charter High Schools. Congratulations again, my brother.
Thank you so much.
Glad
Thank
to
you.
have you with
Thank
us.
you.
And listen, want more information, please do me a favor. Visit the website, unitedcharter.org. Don't go anywhere. We've got more show coming up right after this. And welcome back. As we grow older, our bodies are changing in ways that increase the risk of falling. Now, for many older adults, falls are a serious concern. Each year, nearly 3 million seniors visit the emergency room due to falls, and the consequences can be life-changing, affecting their independence, lifestyle, and relationships. And here now to share more, we've got the national trainer of SilverSneakers, Julie Logue. And thank you so much for being with us, Julie, and thank you for having this conversation.
Thanks so much for having me.
You know, it's really a sad thing to know that the falls are becoming more prevalent in the lives of seniors. What are the major contributing factors that we see as seniors are encountering more of these accidents?
Yeah, as we age, we see some physical changes. It's just physical changes related to aging. Things like loss of muscle strength and joint mobility impact our posture, our gait, and even our confidence on our feet. So all of those things can really contribute to a fall and increase a chance of an injury related to a fall.
Yeah. So I guess prevention is the best medicine. So what can we talk about in the area of prevention that can help aid seniors to make sure that they're not finding themselves in this category?
Yeah, I think being self-aware is really important. And I say that because there's a multitude of risk factors for falls, and you might not realize how at risk you are based on these factors. So you really want to be aware of things like the medications that you take. Do they make you drowsy or less alert? Have you had vision changes, not just a decline in your overall vision, but do you wear multifocal lenses that might impact your ability to sense depth or take a strong step? And again, those muscular and skeletal changes that we see, are they affecting your posture? Are they affecting your gait and your overall balance? And is that making you less apt to participate in regular physical activity? If so, your risk of a fall is increased. And so the best thing you can do is really work towards staying as strong and active as possible as long as you can.
So SilverSneakers is really stepping in here and helping out in terms of making sure that seniors can help to reduce the area of falls. Talk about your involvement.
Yeah, I've been with the program for quite a few years. I feel really passionate about what we offer for seniors. We've got 30 years of programming experience, and the programming is really designed specifically for this demographic. So we offer a multitude of classes as well as access to, over 20,000 gym locations nationwide. And all of that programming is really designed to not only help people be more active, but also to connect socially and experience mental enrichment.
And for yourself, obviously being so connected to the and to the vest on this, I know that when you deal with seniors, it's a long-term commitment here in terms of the work that's being done to really assist in the area of making sure that they're not finding themselves in this place. What can we do as, family, friends, those who are connected, to really be locked in on this long-term commitment to make sure that, listen, I want to help to reduce falls and put my seniors in the best possible place?
Yeah, Daren, I think frank and transparent conversations around changes to physical status or changes to environment are really helpful to have with your close friends and family members who might be encountering those changes. They're difficult conversations to have, but I think with the support of healthcare professionals, you can really come up with a game plan for how they're going to stay active, how they're going to commit to regular physical activity, and how they're going to reduce that overall fall risk. I think it's important to plan ahead instead of waiting for that first fall to happen, because once injury sets in, the road to recovery can be a long one.
Yeah, I'm thinking of somebody right now in my head, and I know they've experienced a terrible fall, and they are still recovering to this day, and this happened months ago, and from face to trauma to the whole, to the whole 9 yards. But I do want to bring in a little bit about physical fitness here and the role of fitness, because fitness is really paramount, and also keeping that body strong, because we're talking about strength in the muscles, right? So can you speak to us a little bit about that importance, fitness?
Yeah, I mean, fitness is important. I really try to look at it through the lens of just physical activity in general. Can you be active throughout your day? I think that's a critical part of fall prevention, but there's also really specific things you can do to target fall prevention, like work on your balance and work on your strength, and ensure that you have a great gait that supports walking. So, there's exercises you can do at home, like heel toe walking or a tightrope walk that can help with coordination and balance. Getting up and out of your chair, all of us need to do that all throughout the day, but getting up as a sit to stand, and that can help maintain and build lower body strength and endurance. And even though it might look silly, I like to stand on one leg as often as I can. So you'll often find me in the kitchen with my hands on the counter, just leaning over to one side and picking up a foot, because it helps me create stability in my lower body, and it also helps my body adjust for postural control. So really simple things you can do from the comfort of your home to help target balance and fall prevention.
There are some seniors that are really not making any moves right now, and the reason why they're not making moves is because they've been, impacted, whether it's traumatically, psychologically, from having a fall. What can you do to help encourage a person or those maybe, that support network for somebody that's actually had that and now is in that fear syndrome?
Yeah, Daren, having a fall is a risk for a fall again. And we know that once you have a fall, it's more likely that you experience fear of falling, which again is a risk factor in and of itself for falls. I think the best thing you can do is, again, have those conversations around how do I create a supportive environment for you so that you can get back up on your feet and try to be active. I'm experiencing this in my own, personal life with aging parents, and seeing the decline has just been really an effort of trying to stay positive, trying to stay focused on goals and the long-term impacts that staying active can have. So I hope that helps with some of the conversations that folks might need to have with loved ones.
Well, Julie, I'm out of time, but I got to bring you back, and I'm going to do part two because I'm going to tell what part two is, and my producer's listening right here. We have to talk about how to have these conversations, because I think that's a real big challenge for so many people, not knowing how to have the conversation and going about having that conversation. So maybe we can bring you back, talk a little bit about that, because it would go a long way in the lives of seniors and also help to settle some family disputes, if you know what I mean. So thank you. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Julie, thank you so much for being with us. It's certainly a great conversation. We'll continue to have, we'll bring you back and continue this a little bit further. All right, so listen, if you want more information, I encourage you, please visit their website, SilverSneakers.com. Find out all that you can, the importance of maintaining, or I should say, helping to alleviate fall prevention in the lives of seniors. Encouraging you, don't go anywhere. We got another very special guest right with us in studio. We'll be right back right after this.
Only 57% of New York City high school students are college ready by their senior year. 55% of high school graduates either have no plans to attend college or are uncertain that they will ever attend. %34% of young adults don't go to college because they can't afford it. Discover what's possible. BronxNet's education programs, internships, and opportunities help engage and inspire Bronx youth and beyond to pursue their passions. Be a part of the BronxNet family. Whether you're interested in our shows, joining a class, or donating to support our mission, visit BronxNet.org to learn more.
And we're back in the heart of the Bronx. The spirit of entrepreneurship is being celebrated in a remarkable way. The Bronx Small Business Development Center is hosting its Celebration of Success, a small business showcase, which is an event, a very special one, that brings together local businesses, owners, as well as fostering connections, and then unlocking some new opportunities. Join me now, we got the Senior Business Advisor of the New York Small Business Network. We've got Patrick J. Saul here, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Daren. Appreciate it.
Hey, a great conversation to have because really when we talk about small business, it's the lifeblood, right, of what goes on in America. And you're front and center really making sure that small business right here in the borough accelerates.
Yep. So, I mean, one of the best things that we do is, right, we're an educational program. So we're funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration, the SBA, right, and locally here in New York. So what we do is we advise businesses at no cost ever, right? So it's a free consultation. We never charge, and we have them great access to great educational resources, right? Not just myself as an experienced advisor, but a team of advisors and a network of 19 centers within the state of New York. So they access great resources, right? Typical things people ask, right? How do I get money to fund my business? Who do I network to help grow my business? That's where you come to the SBDC for, because that's what we do best.
And you do a great job of really helping businesses get to that next level. Entrepreneurs who start off with an idea, right, and a vision, and you help them to carry the vision from vision. I say from vision to victory, right?
Right. Yep. So absolutely. So our kind of motto is, right, start small but think big. We help you start, grow, and then thrive, right? So whether you come to us with an idea or you have nothing really formidable at the time, you can come to us as a sounding board to see if what you have is viable, does it make sense? So we work with people from solopreneurs, right, entrepreneurs, right, existing businesses who are now trying to rebrand, right, and pivot and change direction, especially post-pandemic, right, in the challenging economic times we're in now. We have a lot of businesses that are having to change the way they've done business historically.
And when you look at business right now, I mean, obviously entrepreneurship is on the rise. Ever since the pandemic, I think we've seen more and more people try to self-invent and but in the process of that, I think there's some harsh realities that entrepreneurs are coming to terms with. What are some of the, you're laughing because you know what exactly what I mean. There's some challenges that people find. So what are some of the big challenges that entrepreneurs find themselves running up against?
It's the challenge, the push of the gig worker, right, taking the side hustle to become your main source of income. The challenge they face is not knowing the regulatory environment, right? So they think, oh, I can just start a business, create something online, create a website, and I'm good to go. What they're failing to realize is that there are certain regulatory requirements in place, like you must have your business formed legally, right? You have to file taxes every year. You have to do certain things with federal organizations, right, at the federal, state, and even city level to make sure you're a business in good standing. So a lot of people like to run before they crawl and then walk. And we got a lot of folks who come to us now going, hey, I've started my business post-pandemic, but I don't think I legally formed it. I kind of just did it as a sole proprietorship. I'm like, that's a nice term to use, but did you register with the Bronx County Clerk's Office? No. So we're finding a lot of that. So we're coming back to us at the SBDC to say, okay, let's organize you and make your business now formal and legitimate.
Yeah. Talk to me about technology and how that's really, that's the driver.
Technology has exploded, right? We've seen an abundance of entrepreneurs who have utilized e-commerce, right? And we even have companies at the showcase that we'll talk about in a few, where we have folks who are taking traditional services like baked goods, but leveraging mobile platforms like DoorDash, DashMart, right, Amazon's marketplace to push their products. Artificial intelligence has been a game changer. I reference it at every call that I have with clients, from ChatGPT, Grammarly AI, right, to educate them to say, before you come to us, do your own level of due diligence and your own homework, right? Get a little bit educated, and when you come to us, we'll help you validate that information you have is accurate or not. But artificial intelligence has been a game changer in terms of helping clients do way more than they used to.
I know one of the things that I like to talk about when it comes to small businesses, the fact that a lot of them don't have somebody that you can reach and connect with, right? So you guys have the opportunity of really giving consultations and at the same time really speaking into their lives, giving them direction in a manner that isn't always available or is going to cost them an exorbitant amount of money.
Yes, it's very expensive to sit with somebody of my experience, right? 25 years in financial services, former investment banker, Wall Street. The challenge is it costs money. So you come to the SBDC, but Daren, the big thing is that SBDC has been around for a long time, since 1984. A lot of people don't know about us. So when they come to us, they find out, hey, you're free, what's the catch? There's no catch. This is what we're designed to do. So your connection is really to the advisor, but more importantly, it's helping us help you as a business owner connect to other members in the community, building your networking base, right? Helping you access capital, because we as advisors and centers have connections to key stakeholders that normally small businesses won't be able to get the opportunity to open that door. We open that door for them.
And one of those collaborations is with local universities.
Absolutely, right. So every SBDC center across the country has to be hosted by an educational facility. We in the Bronx are hosted obviously by Lehman College, right here in the Bronx. And they're territory based. So we really focus on servicing the Bronx and only the Bronx and all the businesses that come to us for help.
So for yourself, obviously watching businesses go to the next level has got to be a great feeling for you.
Yeah.
What has it been like watching since the pandemic people come through your door? Are you seeing more and more that are actually coming through your door, or are we seeing, steady pace? How do you?
We've seen a peak, right? So I would say starting in 2022, when I started at the SBDC, there was a peak. We had an abundance, at least 80 to 100 clients a month coming in the door routinely to be serviced, right? That's your new clients, not even your existing base as they come. Now it's tailed off a little bit. We're probably averaging somewhere between 70 to 80 clients, which is where historically it's been. So I think folks are catching wind to what you alluded to earlier, that there was this astronomical rise in becoming an entrepreneur, and when they learn that it takes time, dedication, effort, commitment, right, money, they've now pivoted back to, hey, let's go to that steady Eddie income, right, on a W-2 or a 1099.
And that access to capital is really huge for, a huge challenge for a lot of business owners. What's being done in the middle, real quickly, to be able to help people have that access to capital that can really take their business to where they need to go?
Access to capital is one of the number one things that people come to us for. As a startup business, it's the biggest challenge for a startup. An existing business, it's easier to access, right? Debt capital in the form of a loan. But for a small business, it's still a challenge. Traditional banks are just not able to really do certain things for startups. However, the alternative financing landscape, like fintechs, financial technology firms, have really exploded, helping startups open up this opportunity for them. And it's critical because they need access to that money to cover simple things like actually paying to form the business.
So if people don't know where you're located, go ahead and tell them.
Right, so we're located right in Lehman College's campus in Carmen Hall, room 128, right off of Bedford Park West Boulevard. You come in through gate 1, come see us at any time. We operate Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Pleasure having you.
Likewise. Thank
and
you,
listen, keep the businesses flowing because we need them out here.
Absolutely, appreciate it.
All right, appreciate you. Listen, for more information, visit the website, nysbdc.ecente, which is ecenterdirect.com. It's all jacked up in my teleprompter. So let me come back and say it. Go back again one more time. Thank you. nysbdc.ecenterdirect.com. I got it right now. We come to the end of our show today. Want to thank all our guests for joining us and you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, do me a favor, catch the recablecast right here on Optimum Channel 67, Verizon Files Channel 2133, or watch us anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. Of course, if you want to catch a brand new episode of Open, come back on Friday with my girl, Rita Valentine. This about wraps up this episode for us. I am Daren Jaime saying take care. Make sure you keep this channel wide open. See you later. God bless.